So in the previous video, we saw that the global displacement vector is given by Q and the global load vector is given by F. The displacement of nodes is considered positive if it is along the x direction. Okay, so we had the stepped shaft. This was the given x direction. So if the displacement of the nodes is in this direction, it is considered as positive. Okay, so we know that each element has two nodes, hence the element connectivity can be represented in tabular form. Okay, so I'm just drawing that element, bar element, as a line element. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 nodes. 5 nodes, and these are the global nodes. Okay, these are this we call as the global nodes. The numbers which are circled, these are the elements. So we have 4 elements and 5 nodes. Now let me break this up into 4 elements separately. So I have, this is my element 1 with node 1 and 2. Okay, these are the ones that I'm writing on top of the element are the global nodes. Okay, now as we know, it's a one dimensional element, so each element has two nodes. So this is node 1 of the element and this is node 2 of the element. Okay, similarly, so the local displacements here will be denoted by small q1 and small q2. Okay, now the next element is element number 2. The global node numbers were 2 and 3. Okay, but when we are talking about it in terms of local, it again has only two nodes, that is 1 and node number 2. Okay, now the next element is element number 3. The global nodes are 3 and 4, but as an individual element it has only two nodes, 1 and 2. Okay, so the ones which I'm writing in red are the local numbers and the ones which I'm writing in black are global numbers. Okay, and finally the last element, okay, this is element number 4. The global number of the coordinates are 4 and 5 and the local will be only 1 and 2. Okay, this now can be represented as a element connectivity table. Okay, and it establishes the relationship between the local and the global coordinates. So this is very important to solve problems, so please pay attention to this. This is element, these are nodes. Now we have node 1 and node 2 for each and every element. Okay, so here this corresponds to the local numbers. Sorry, these are the local numbers. Okay, let's start with element 1. So for element 1, the local one, node 1, okay, let me write this in red. So this is 1 and this is 2. Okay, local numbers. So for element 1, the local one corresponds to the global one and the local 2 corresponds to the global 2. Okay, so this is for element 1. Similarly, if we do for element 2, the local 1 corresponds to the global 2 and 2 corresponds to global 3. Okay, so this is the relationship between the local and the global coordinates. So this will be 3, 4, and for 4 it will be 4, 5. Okay, so this is about the element connectivity table, which is the first step that you're going to do after division of the bar element that is given to you, is establishing the relation between the local numbers and the global. Next, let us learn about the concept of shape functions. Now, what are shape functions? It is a function which interpolates the solution between discrete values obtained at nodes. Okay, now let me take this as the reference axis. Okay, and we have an element with node numbers 1 and 2. Let us write down the coordinates of this. This is x1, this corresponds to x2. Okay, this is a 0 line, and this is figure 1. Let's call this figure 1. Now we know that in finite elements what we are doing is, here if you see in this diagram itself, we are getting the displacement at the nodes, only at the nodes. What if we want to find out the displacement within this element, okay, between points 1 and 2? Okay, so what should we do in that case? That is when we use shape functions. That is why it's called an interpolating function, which helps us to find the solution between the discrete nodes. So these are the nodes 1 and 2. We have to find out the displacement somewhere in the middle. Okay, say for example we want to find out at some point here. Okay, at some point here we want to find out the displacement. That point is at a distance of x from the baseline. Okay, and let us say that at node 1 the displacement is q1, at node 2 the displacement is q2, and we want to find out what is u of x, okay, at point x from the origin. So this is how we are going to interpolate. Okay, so at node 1 it is q1, at node 2 it is q2. We have to find out the value somewhere here. Okay, now from this diagram we know that this distance, if we want to find out, this is node 1, this is node 2. If we want to find out the length of this, it will be x2 minus x1. Okay, this is x2 minus x1. Similarly, if we want to find out this length here is x minus x1. Okay, now this difference here is given by q2 minus q1, and at a distance of x the displacement will be given as u of x minus q1. Okay, so let us call this second diagram as figure 2, and let us move on to derive the shape functions. So consider the two noded bar element. The axis of the member is x along the length of the member. Nodes 1 and 2 of the member are at a distance of x1 and x2 respectively from the origin, and q1 and q2 be the displacements at 1 and 2 respectively. Let u of x be the displacement at the point x. Now from figure 2 interpolating, okay, so there are two triangles. As we see, we have this smaller triangle and we have this bigger triangle. Okay, so from the bigger triangle, okay, so this is the bigger triangle. I think I'm going too deep explaining this, but this is okay. So x2 minus x1 upon q2 minus q1, okay, of the smaller greater triangle, sorry, equals to, it will be x minus x1 of the smaller triangle. Now the smaller triangle is x minus x1 and u of x minus q1 upon u of x minus q1. So we get u of x equals to x minus x1 into q2 minus q1 upon x2 minus x1 plus q1. Okay, so this is what we get when we use the rule of similar triangles. Okay, now let us cross multiply this term to q1 and let us simplify and open the bracket. So x q2 minus x q1 minus x1 q2 plus x1 q1 upon plus x2 q1 minus x1 q1, the whole thing divided by x2 minus x1. Okay, so this was q1. Okay, so minus x1 q1 and plus x1 q1 will get cancelled. Okay, so let us separate the q1 and the q2 terms. So it will be q1 upon x2 minus x1 plus something into q2 upon x2 minus x1. Okay, so for q1 terms we have x2 minus x, okay, that is these two terms. Okay, and for q2 we have x and x1. So we arrive at this equation u of x equals to this. Okay, now this term x2 minus x upon x2 minus x1 is the shape function n1 and this term is the shape function n2. So finally we can write the displacement u of x equals to n1 q1 plus n2 q2. Sometimes we also write this u of x. Now in this particular case we have considered that the displacement at any point x is u of x. You could also consider that the displacement at a point x is small q. Okay, so this is the equation for shape function. Okay, and in this approach the polynomials with the number of constants exactly equal to the nodal degree of freedoms are selected. Using the nodal value, number of equations equal to number of constants are formed and then the constants are obtained to identify the shape functions. Okay, so this is the equation for to find out the displacement at any point within the bar element or one-dimensional element. Thank you.